Welcome back. Now we're going to shift our conversation now to content creation, comedy, activism, and but this is all one person. Actually, we keep bringing in a lot of creators here who share their stories with us. And for those of you who might not really understand what content creation is about these days, we're joined here by Timi Agbaje, the law. You're welcome. How are you doing?
I'm very good.
Thanks a lot for joining us. I always like to start, with asking people who are content creators. Was this always the plan, or did you just happen upon it?
Wasn't the plan at first. Like when I left school and after law school, I came to Lagos to just come host events and all that stuff. But I realized that in Lagos, you have to do something to get visible and for people to know you for what you do. Yeah. So I ventured into content creation.
Because it's a very, very noisy place. So to get noticed, you have to. So what did you have to do?
I had to first decide what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to do content. Then how do I get people to know me? I started collaborating with people I've known from school, then that are big in Lagos now. Try collaborating with them, featuring their stuff, and from there, start picking up.
So when you were studying law, you didn't have any plan to do anything with it?
No, I don't know. I have plans. I still do. I still use my law. In school, I used to host corporate events. I hosted all the corporate events in my school. Like, that was what I loved doing. That was the only thing that would take me away from class.
Okay.
So after school, I still wanted to keep my law, my profession, and my passion at the same time. So I just kept going.
So you started trying to host events here, and then you realized I needed to create content.
Yes.
So what kind of content did you start with?
To be honest, I started doing skits and rants. So rant was, I started something called Wrong now. So I would just look at societal things, funny things around us. Like, you are escorting your guy's house, you now go and you now took a picture and framed it in your guy's and you put it there. Wrong now. So I just looked for basic situations and scenarios around me and started ranting about it. And I was doing skit on the side.
When was that?
That should be COVID year. COVID. It was COVID that made me really like start my rant. Yeah, that lockdown shut down a lot of stuff. So yeah, it was COVID year. It was COVID. I don't remember. I think it was March or thereabout, but it was COVID year that like started all of this.
Yeah. Then I know you did have a few things around NSARS.
Oh, yeah.
And the protests in October of the same 2020.
Yeah.
Why did you feel the need to do that, and what sort of things did you do?
In the NSARS protest, I remember that I was part of the protest as much as I could from the days of the beginning time. From the since there was a rally we did before the protest. I was just walking around to let people know that we're not happy, and then there was a protest that was held. I was there till the last day, but I was not there in the evening of the last day. So I was there till the last day. The reason why I joined the protest was because, as at that time, there was a misconception that police brutality happens to people in Nigeria that are probably you're a fraudster or you have tattoos or you have dread. It's not a crime to have tattoos or to have dread. And to be young and successful is not a crime anywhere in the world. So you should not be a victim because you're successful. And I've also been a victim too. I've almost lost my life to that situation too before, despite not even being a fraudster or anything. It was just unfortunate. And I felt like if people like me could have been a victim, how much more people that don't even have the voice or the platform, people to even come to their support and get them out. So that's why I joined the protest.
Okay. Did you create content around it at the time? And were you...
Sort of.
Or did you feel the need to?
No. I was so engrossed in the protest. I went to OAU. So in OAU, when we were lending our voice to something, we were dedicated to, we were like committed to that cause. If we say, maybe for example, something happened and a student was treated badly, everybody wants to get justice. So it's not about your clout, your political divisions, your tribe. Those things don't come to play. We just want to get justice. So at that point, I was just after, let the voices of the youth be heard that this thing needs to stop. So that was what I was about that time.
So I always wonder, people who get into content creation, do you ever worry about what people would want to see or hear? Did you start off, okay, with your own wrong now, watching out with people who like this thing, and do you start saying, this one don't work, let me try something else? How does that, especially the initial stage, work?
Everybody that does business that revolves around customers knows that feedback is the biggest tool to that stuff being successful. So, engagements and numbers are everything that bothers the mind of a content creator. You want to know if people like what you're doing. Because if people don't like you and people don't engage what you do, you probably won't get people to advertise with you, or people... The opportunities that are around what you do might not come to you because of the numbers. So sometimes you have to be sure, okay, fine. Okay, my approach to this has to change. So sometimes ago when we started this stuff, when this content creation started in Nigeria as skits, for example, it was just 15 seconds. And it was just like probably a few people that were doing it. Then some people came, Instagram Reels came, and some people delved into that. Later, some people went to YouTube. So people just want to know what people are, like people will say, which people they chop now, which people they chop. So everybody just wants to like latch on the next thing to be ahead of the game, Yeah.
When did you realize you had, or was that a first viral moment, or was there a moment that you was like, oh, this thing is actually working now?
To be honest, there have been degrees of virality that I think I've enjoyed, and I'm grateful to God and people and platforms that have supported me in that cause. When I started doing Orong, I saw people like repost my stuff, and then Orong even got more popular than me. That I used to think I started it that time, so I wasn't even bothered. But I think NSAS was the first thing that I didn't know how to react to it. I didn't know how to respond to it. Like, it was so... The feedback, both negative and the positive, people even said I use it to do money ritual, that taking my bath in public is because everybody that sees me at that protest now, I'm using their destiny to make money. I'm still here. Where's the money ritual? So, I think it was Orong, then NSAS, then it just kept climbing like that. And then my interviews too, I started doing interviews, asking Nigerians on the street their stories and their perspectives to life. And I realized that people wanted to hear from not just the celebrities alone, they want to hear from the everyday people. So, it's been different degrees, and I'm grateful to God.
Do you feel the need to comment on governments, like policies or situations or things that happen in the country sometimes? And how do you make that relatable when you do it?
So I have a series I started. What does the law say?
Exactly.
What does the law say is just about analyzing social perspectives and issues from the angle of the law. Whatever my opinions are, don't matter. Whatever your opinions are, don't matter. What does the law say? So let me give an example. There was a particular situation I revolved around. Let me call the person Sugar Mommy of Lagos, because people online, they know what I'm talking about. And then it revolved around cross-dressing. And when I did a content on it, people came at me like, people attacked me. I was so surprised. Some people even called me homosexual. Like, I was so shocked. And I'm like, let's take our emotions aside. Is cross-dressing a crime in Nigeria as of today? No. You might not like the person, you might not like the fact that the person is a man and is walking like a woman or dressed like a woman, either for comedy or for whatever reason that they're doing it. If it's not a crime, the law is expressed on it. Whatever is not a crime, nobody can be punished for it. So until our lawmakers now say, okay, fine, let's criminalize this. So my angles on my content on what does the law say is very simple. Whatever is happening around us, what does the law say? I don't care about anything else apart from that.
Let me get your thoughts then on a few things that have been happening recently. Okay. You've heard the news of the former Kogi State governor?
Yes.
Yeah, Bello.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on what's happening?
I believe that the FCC has not started. I feel like they're still at the formative stage of their implementation of whatever they want to do on the matter. And the reason is very simple. I talk to Nigerian youth on the street, and I realized that so many people now believe that the easiest way to become rich in Nigeria is to be into politics, steal government funds, and after a while, they will just shout your name and stuff, and you go away with it. And we need to change that, because now our problems in Nigeria are no longer legal. They are now more cultural. Back then when we were younger, you're older than me, way older than me, but when I was younger...
Maybe way.
Yeah, I know, like way older than me, yes. When I was younger, if you ask a normal person on the street, what do you want to become? They will say, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a banker. Right now, you see people say boldly, I want to be a Yahoo boy. And it's because of the fact that there are no examples to show that fraud does not pay. Fraud is not the way to go. And people that are even doing the legal way of life, they already see that, they already think that without doing illegality, they won't be rich in life. Not everybody has to be rich, but you can still be rich from the legal way. Now, the problem now is that the people that have done the illegal things, they don't look like there are consequences that come to them for the legality. So we need to correct these opinions. And Kogi State, for example, a sitting governor paid school fees in advance for 5 children. As a matter of fact, when I read part of the case, there was a particular child among those children. There was a baby. That means that child has not started school. They paid money ahead of time. 80 billion naira. And now why I'm angry about it, it's not even about what the law says or what my emotions are. It's the fact that the money that our politicians take from us illegally can do so much for Nigerians. And the problem is that we don't understand how much or how bad the ripple effect of this is on you and I. As a Nigerian, if you travel to some countries, in some airports and embassies, they stop you for just being a Nigerian. And why? These things, these are our actions, our omissions, these things, our way of life here, impunity, they put a bad color to us. It's just like, for example, if I'm your friend, I'm your best friend, and everybody sees us together, and I go around stealing on the street, people will always connect that to, that Ebuka's guy. So now every Nigerian, every bad thing that a governor does, an ex-governor does in Nigeria, a politician does in Nigeria, is Ebuka's country's ex-governor that does it. Yeah. So the government needs to try to make examples of these situations. Yeah. I don't want to say more than that because it's in court, so I don't want to say too much. I know that the FCC wants to do.
I know, I mean, these are all allegations. So
allegations, yes. Nobody's guilty. Nobody's guilty until proven guilty by a competent court of law.
The FCC chairman was very categorical, but there are still allegations. Yes, but even if the allegations, I wanted to get your thoughts on what's the liability of the American International School could be in a situation like this to receive money
in dollars.
In dollars, years ahead, you know, is that not, I don't know.
The law is very clear.
Do you think the school is liable, will be liable for anything?
I think the school has some questions to answer. The CBN Act is very simple and straightforward. Nobody should refuse the Nigerian naira, which is our legal tender, as mode or means of payment in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, you should not charge in dollars. You should charge in naira. Wherever your country is fine. You can now calculate and submit that money in Nigerian naira and ask them to pay you that. You can't go to America, for example, or go to another country and tell them that you are from Nigeria. You want them to be patronizing you in naira. It doesn't work like that. I also hear allegations online too that some government agencies actually demand for some payments in dollars. I can't answer that because I've not had the experience of that. But I believe that these are the things that place every demand and every pressure on our naira. That's why everything in Nigeria revolves. If dollar goes up, fuel goes up, everything goes up. Life is difficult. To buy pure water on the road, now I heard that pure water is like 15 naira per one sachet. Pure water was once 5 naira per sachet. And I don't think the quality ever changed. It's just the cost of living and inflation has got into that. I feel like the school has questions on the dollarization of the economy, why they are accepting money in dollars in Nigeria. Second question, money laundering charges. A sitting governor is a politically exposed person. What proof of work has he done to show you that he is able to cough out 8 billion naira? I don't think any governor in Nigeria today, I start to be corrected, in the next 8 years, will have 80 billion naira as a salary take home from Nigeria government.
Okay, salary, okay.
No, I don't want their security put a lot of stuff, like there are a lot of allowances and all those things. From their salary, I don't think anybody has a right to 80 billion naira in 8 years.
Okay.
So they have questions to answer.
Let's evolve this conversation now, because I mean you're very passionate about the law, you're a content creator, but we also live in an age of misinformation and disinformation. Yes. And we saw that very heavily during our last election. Yes. All of these things just being put out. Most people are not able to sort of filter what is real and what isn't, right?
Definitely.
And sometimes content creators were also, called out for that, in the sector that you are. Yeah. How do you think we need to navigate this? With the population now of young people who mostly get their news from TikTok, from Instagram, from people who even hardly go to Google. Sure. It's TikTok and Instagram. Oh, I saw it on TikTok. Oh, I saw it on Twitter. Sometimes not verified. So when social media has become real media for people and it's a space where anything can be put out, do you think there's a responsibility on people like you? And for even if there isn't, how do we navigate the future with this?
Definitely, we have responsibilities. It's optional though, because it's not my duty as Nigerian to inform another Nigerian. My duty is to keep to the laws. If you don't keep to the law, it's on you. But ignorance of the law is not an excuse. And I feel like everyone that has a platform in Nigeria has a pseudo responsibility to inform people. For example, cyber stalking. Section 24.1 and 1B of the Cybercrime Act 2015 says whoever puts out a statement which he knows that is false, but puts it out to ridicule another person and annoy another person, or put someone in view of harm or inconvenience, commits a crime called cyber stalking, punishable by 7 million naira fine or 3 years imprisonment, or both. If people don't know these things, they keep doing it. Some people don't actually know that apart from defamation, there's another crime called cyber stalking in Nigeria. Let me give an instance. Somebody just woke up one day and messaging and a beautiful, blessed husband, called blessed by coincidence too. They unveiled the picture of their baby, and somebody just woke up one day and said, this child looks like Nathan Ebasi. Now, saying that alone has not even cost anything. This child looks like an innocent, can still be passive innocent. But we may now say, this child is definitely Nathan Ebasi's child. This man should go and do DNA. This man should go and investigate his wife. This woman definitely had this. You have already crossed so many lines. And if you don't let people know that these things are criminal under the law, and there are liabilities that are not to be joked with under the law, people will keep wallowing in their ignorance. And Nigeria is a very cultural country. If you go after someone that is not popular, they will say, people the oppressor. That message with the oppressor. But people need to understand that there's no thin line to this. You're either on the side of the law or you're against the law. So we have a responsibility as much as we can, because not everybody has the chance to be able to put and infuse these things, as much as you can, to let people understand that there's a law in Nigeria. Nigerians believe that Nigeria is very lawless. Not anything goes. If you have money, you bribe them. There's some people that don't, with their money, they still bear the brunt of the law. So we have a responsibility to let people understand that, yes, ignorance of the law is not an excuse, and there are still laws in Nigeria that are very, very sacrosanct. Yeah. So I believe you and I, Robin might have exposed a lot of minds and a lot of creators to things like this. I'm grateful to the opportunity too.
There's been whispers in government for a couple of years now, from the last administration, President Buhari, to even now, President Tinubu, whispers about, some sort of regulation of social media or the internet as a whole. And most people have wondered what that looks like, because the internet is just this place, is this space where, how do you track things, even the social media organizations globally, the Metas and, Twitters and all of that, still find it hard, you know, to sort of self-regulate. How does a government do that? Do you think it's doable? Do you think it's necessary? Especially in a country where, let's be honest, you know, more laws means more oppression for a lot of people. You know, do you think that's something that's needed? And if it isn't, how then do we start, you know, to fix these things?
To be honest, from experiences, past experience as a Nigerian, I'm not sure we are ready to operate social media regulation. What I think I want to advocate is, for example, we have a National Orientation Agency. Their job is to inform us of the basics of what it means to be a Nigerian. I feel like they should infuse themselves in social media, let Nigerians understand the laws and the things that guide us. Because the moment you regulate too many things in Nigeria, it always ends up in taking freedom of speech or expression of people. And the moment people are not able to express themselves in a democracy, it's ready to into another form of government. And also, don't forget, accountability is the biggest virtue of democracy. If you are leading me, I voted for you to represent me, I have a right to question you. Ebuka, I voted you to be my honorable house of somebody in my state, in my constituency. We heard that they gave you 100 million naira for constituency project. Ebuka, we never see any constituency project. What is happening? I have a right to do that. Now, my approach on doing that must also be within the confines of the law. Those are where the government will now come and say, oh, yeah, you have a right to be accountable, to express yourself, to speak freely, but do not cross these lines. So I'm scared. I don't know. I mean, I'm not in the government. I don't know their plans. There was a time that a government of a country banned Twitter and came to announce on Twitter that they have banned Twitter. Some agents of that same government were still using Twitter. That shows that it's very difficult to do some of these things. We have VPN, we have so many technologies at play. So I don't know how they want to do it, but I just hope they don't take the freedom of speech and expression of the Nigerians.
Fair enough. What you, with what you do now, where do you see yourself evolving to? Because, you, like I said, you are doing content, you're passionate about the law. You said your law is still a part of your life.
Yes.
You know, you advocate, you're an activist. What does the future look like?
The future for me, to be honest, I just hope to keep lending my virtues and my gifts to humanity. And it doesn't have to be in the spheres of law alone. I love hosting events a lot. And you're one of my mentors, people I look forward to. And I really appreciate that for what you do. You and a couple of hosts of other people. The future for me is a country, a continent where an average person on the street understands the basic laws that hold us, that uphold society. For example, copyright. Intellectual property rights violations are the mainstay right now in the economy of the country. And an average person does not even understand the gravity of this thing. So, for example, I did a content. I said, a photographer that takes your picture has the right to that picture. You that paid him for the picture don't have the right to the picture apart from domestic and private use. And people came at me that, what are you talking about? How will I pay somebody over 100,000 naira for 30 minutes? And tell me that I don't have... But it's the truth, because the copyright act is very simple. Literary, musical, and artistic work belong to the author of the work. And some of them belong to them for as much as 50 years after the date of creation. Some after 70 years. So if you violate all these laws and you don't know, and you always argue in ignorance, you always think that you're right. Now, there are ways to protect yourself from those laws when you are in the know of it. But the future looking for me is, I want to be a part of a change that informs an average Nigerian. I want to look back and say, I was one of the people that championed the cause of educating Nigerians, inspiring Nigerians. That's what it looks like for me. For now. Tomorrow, am I going to go for play football? Oh, it's maybe. I
thought he was going to mention there's politics in his future.
No.
He's sounding a little like
No.
But we'll be watching.
I don't think everybody should be a politician.
I agree with you.
Not everybody should be a pastor. Some should be deacons, some should be elders, some should be ushers in church.
Thank you very, very much for your time. And what's your handle? So they can
Timi Agbaje.
Just Timi Agbaje.
Yes, on Twitter, Timi_Agbaje. Everywhere else, Timi Agbaje. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, everywhere Timi Agbaje.
Please follow him and gain some knowledge, and in a fun way, which is the most important. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much.
We'll take another.